What's up, everybody? Oh, let me try to get my monitor up because everybody says there's breaking news. Everybody's claiming breaking news. Ah, give me something. Hello, Alex Blanco. Hello, Terry Green. Hello, Starries. Hello, Ian. Walkuro, Kevin. Hello, everybody. Let's see. Um, People are saying ABC News is reporting this now. Let's see.
Hey, Cover Girls.
Cover girls need no.
Damn ad. The rumors were true. I guess so.
General Kurilla talking to his counterparts in Israel. I'm certain that those conversations are going on right now in terms of preparations. But I'd like to highlight this because I think James mentioned it. We have thousands of U.S. troops in the region, and protecting that force is actually job one of CENTCOM, of U.S. Central Command. And, there's plenty of Iranian proxy forces. James talked about, the Lebanese Hezbollah being the largest.
Why don't they tell us? Oh, here we go. U.S. officials, Israel retaliates against Iran.
Where we have forces forward position.
I don't like to be a one to jump to conclusions after an event, but it doesn't seem good.
It would not surprise me that they sort of spontaneously take actions into their own hands now that Israel has struck into the main country of Iran. So I think the next few hours is going to be a very dangerous period.
War, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. That's my response.
Out and wondering, is my world safe? How does what's happening half a world away potentially impact me? How would you respond?
Well, for right now, it doesn't, impact the average American. But let's give it 72 hours. Because this could potentially, it has clear potential to spark
one,
a major
two, three, four, five,
between
six,
Iran
seven
and
blasts.
Israel. And, has been talked about over the last few weeks. 20% of the world's oil passes through the Hormuz Straits, right there on the very southern tip of Iran. And this could certainly impact the flow of trade, the flow of oil.
Kevin says, I guess Bibi didn't listen to Biden. He should have, man. Dumbass.
Maybe tonight, right now, for us, it doesn't have a direct impact. But give it 72 hours because this could escalate quickly. And, people who think they can control escalation, I'd say that's hope. That's a wish to be able to control escalation. You can't ever predict how it might escalate, and it could escalate out of control into a full-blown shooting war between Israel and Iran.
You say it could escalate out of control. Are there any kind of guardrails in place?
Well, those are decisions made in the two capitals. And, now we're into trying to send clear messages to each other's side. And, I think both countries' leaders generally act like rational actors. But now there's been a strike, first ever, from Iran into Israel. And now Israel has struck into Iran. There's no formal guardrails in place. Our diplomats will be working overtime to try to put guardrails in place. But again,
I just changed the title of this video because I feel like putting chitty chatting isn't very appropriate to what's happening right now. So I changed the title.
General Abrams, we thank you so much for your insight and expertise. Tonight, Iranian state-run media is reporting an explosion a couple hundred miles south of Tehran. They're reporting that flights have been suspended in Tehran and several other cities in the area. To help us understand what might be happening right now, we bring in former Assistant Secretary for the Department of Home.
Chris Holiday asks, so do you do any discussion of your dad's keys over here or leave that to him? I leave that to him. I don't discuss the keys at all.
Look, there's a well-known, understood approach in the Middle East that you have to respond to force with force, and while that might not be what America wants to see Israel do, it is kind of the MO of the Middle East. And so it's not surprising to see that Israel has responded. It might actually be a little surprising that they seem to have responded as little as they did compared to what Iran did last weekend. What Iran did was just unprecedented in 40 years of hostility. They broke all of the rules that have governed the shadow war that these two hostile entities, Iran and Israel, have operated by for the last 40 years. And so it could have been much worse in a sense of they.
Thank you, Chris, for watching. Even though we probably don't agree with your politics, we respect your watching and every community member. Do you make your own 24 election predictions? No, yeah, I do. Biden's going to win. That's my prediction, just based off my gut feeling.
Happened tonight, and we don't know exactly.
Not based off the keys at all.
But compared to at least the numbers that we saw from Iran last week, this is very small. So that's maybe a bit of good news, though I think many were hoping.
How am I personally feeling about the tensions in the Middle East right now? Owen says, I'm very scared of a World War III moment. Yeah, I'm not feeling good about it. This sucks. This is terrible. This is horrific. Am I worried about World War III? Not really. I think this will mostly stay in the Middle East, but I think it might involve more Americans, which would suck. Sam, were you in the path of the total eclipse last week? Nowhere near it. I'm in California. Do you think I could interview Lichtman before the election? Starries asks. Interview him for what? Hey Sam, did you talk to your dad about changing the channel name to Professor Allen? Yeah, I think we just decided just to keep it the way it is. Kevin says, same here, Sam. Also, wars are typically an advantage for the person in power. Voters do not like to change leaders during a war. That is very true. Miles Wolf says, hey Sam, can you tell me about your degree in film? Where can I see your work? If you type in here, I'll put my, I've made 2 short films. I'll put them in the chat. I'll link them in the chat. Give me a second. How do I share this? This is the YouTube channel I use to archive my 2 short films. It's only got 2 subscribers, so maybe you can be the 3rd. Let's see. How do you like California? I really like California. It's warm, the weather's beautiful. There's so much to do in terms of outdoor stuff, and it's also a big city, so there's just so much to do. Like in a given day, you can go to the beach, go to the mountains, and then go to the desert. You know what I mean? Like I like that a lot. Chris Holiday says, my fear of this is the axis of evil between Iran, China, and Russia. 2 of those 3 are in conflicts right now. That's true, but they're in conflicts separately, whereas a world war would have to be a conjoined conflict. Who's going to the NBA Finals? Celtics and Denver. Starry says, I want to record a brief interview with your dad, like maybe 20-30 minutes after he calls the keys to upload to my Instagram and Twitch channels. Email him, lichtman@american.edu. Ask him. It's up to him. I can't make that decision for him. What brought me to LA? my job and my pursuit of film. Miles Worth, subscribe to my short film archive channel. Let's go. Hey, let's be optimistic. Iran helped Johnson make a breakthrough on a foreign aid bill. It's already super positive. Yeah, silver lining maybe. Maybe not a positive, but a silver lining maybe. Owen says, I feel like it can go two ways. If this becomes an all-out conflict, Biden could gain from them domestically, since wars tend to make people coalesce around the incumbent. Someone mentioned this, but yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, I think we'd all rather just look, I still don't think this is going to be a war involving the United States militarily. Maybe monetarily, militarily. If that makes sense. I still don't think we're going to send troops to the Middle East to fight in a war between Iran and Israel. That's my 2 cents. Celtics or Denver in how many games? Denver in 6. That's my prediction. Fire on Ice says, Sam, you're lucky to have a dad like the professor. He is a walking encyclopedia and so willing to share his knowledge. I agree with you. Wow, my film channel went up to 11 subscribers already. Whoa, 12 subscribers, let's go. Honestly, if you guys, I would love people who just checked it out and subscribed. If you watch, I honestly want your honest feedback. Leave it in the comments of the video, of the short films you watch. Jay Couch says Denver in 7. Robert Oha says Celtics in 6. I still don't believe the Celtics can beat Denver. That's my opinion. Miles Worth, any thoughts on leveraging filmmaking skills in other fields? Is that what you're doing at work? Yes, that's what I'm doing at my current job. What's a very underrated election year? I don't know. I am not a political expert at all. Thank you, Captain M90s, for subscribing. Who are you rooting for in the NBA? If I had a choice, it'd be the Knicks. My dad's a big Knicks fan, but I would say that's pretty unlikely. I'd be cool with the Bucks winning. I like Giannis. When that member-only stream? I don't understand that question. When are we having a members-only stream? I don't know if we ever said we were having a members-only stream, did we? What was the first election you voted in? 2012, I believe. The one where the Electoral College was tied, was that Benjamin? Oh, Miles redacted his comment before I could answer. And I didn't have an answer anyways, again, because I'm not a political expert. Who should have went to the Team USA Olympic that didn't? I don't think anybody. I think the team is pretty well assembled. I don't have any complaints about it. You said there will be a members-only stream and a previous stream. Maybe I said we would think about it. I don't know if I ever said there will be for sure a members-only stream. Let's see what they're saying right now.
The United States on the side of Israel, and I believe Russia on the side of Iran need to step in and start making sure this does not spiral out of control.
Agreed.
Yeah, as you mentioned, this emphasis on de-escalation. Do you think that there is hope for diplomacy? Is that realistic?
Yes, absolutely. Diplomacy always has to be what leads here. Obviously, we're already in a shooting war, which means diplomacy has failed. But that doesn't mean you give up on it. Right now, I think there needs to be immediate, quick dialogue between Israel and Iran. If they have to go through intermediaries, they do. That needs to happen very quickly to try to de-escalate, to make sure this doesn't result in a free fire zone, essentially. That doesn't have to happen. Usually, Iran is very deliberate in their retaliations. I know they have said they will respond immediately, but we would be seeing that soon. We'd be hearing that soon if that were the case. If there is a lull in this type of exchange, that's the time for diplomacy to really step in and try to calm everything down and prevent this from continuing.
I agree with that guy. What that guy just said. LeBron or MJ? It's a conversation that I think it's a debate and conversation that should just end. I grew up with LeBron. When MJ was winning championships, I was like 4 years old. So I have no memory of him. So it's like I can't really answer that. I mean, obviously MJ has more championships. That's all I can really say. Miles Wolf said, I've done some economic developments as community organized in West Baltimore. What part of Baltimore are you guys based in? What do you mean? Nobody I know is based in Baltimore. I don't know what you mean by we. I mean, my father is not based in Baltimore, if that's what you're asking. Jacob, how do you say your name? Venner? Are you and your dad politically aligned, or would you say one of you is more progressive than the other? That's a good question. I'd say we're pretty politically aligned, yeah. Chris Holiday says, I make one prediction outside the Keys. This will be a low turnout election. I don't know about that. Maybe lower than 2020, but I don't know about a low turnout election. Any thoughts on Larry Hogan? If you're a Marylander and you are a Democrat or believe in progressive ideology, don't vote for him, because all he will be is another Republican vote in the Senate, even if he may be a moderate Republican. Messi or Ronaldo? Messi. Owen Valdala says, why do you feel Biden will win outside the Keys? I agree with you. I'm just curious about your analysis. I don't think a man who tried to overturn an election can win in America. Maybe people might say that's naive of me. I still believe enough in the American people and our American democracy that I don't think a man who tried to overturn an election will win. What happened to this? Just went away. All right, I don't know what's happening now. Anyways. Jacob Wenner. Gotcha. But is the general population actually afraid of that right now? I feel like they're ignoring his criminal conduct. I think maybe they're ignoring it when they have to go and push a person, they'll remember. And once the election starts heating up a little bit more, they'll remember. Democrats should win the presidency and House very easily. The Senate is tougher. I don't know much about the House races right now. But yeah, looks like the Senate's going to be another like 50-50 go, right? From what I've heard. Chris Holiday says, I do not plan to vote for Trump this time. I do think he will win unless something unforeseeable happens. Alex Blanco says, does the October surprise affect the election? I guess if it swings a key, then it does. Is Maryland that insane to vote Hogan in as a Republican? I don't think he's going to win. No, I don't think Maryland will vote a Republican into the Senate. Patrick Murray says, I have Dems losing the Senate. No way they win Ohio. No way? Maybe unlikely, but I wouldn't say no way. Yeah, Jamie Smith says, Patrick, don't write off Ohio. Don't. Is this what we just watched? Are they just redoing this now?
Really important for us to find out what happened, and I'm sure that's exactly what the U.S. government is doing to try to gather this information and be prepared potentially for a counterattack, which could have been already prepared by Iran, knowing this was likely coming.
How concerned are you about the potential for a full-scale regional conflict?
I think everybody should be concerned about a full-scale.
This is what I don't like about the mainstream media. They ask these questions that are impossible to answer. Like, how worried are you that this is going to break out into World War III? How's this guy sitting in his house supposed to answer that? Nobody freaking knows, dude. If Taylor Swift publicly endorses Biden, does that change things? No, I don't think so. I don't think that swings a key. How many questions per show do you want us to keep it to on the main channel? I would say if you're a member, keep spamming your main question. Like the main question you want answered for that day, keep it consistent. Because it's hard for me to ask multiple member questions a day and donations. So I'm trying to get every member who asks a questions asked and donations asked. So that's my strategy. Aren't October surprises irrelevant because your dad makes his prediction in the summer? I guess, unless he makes his prediction in October. Nobody says the prediction has to be in the summer. Linda Fusco says, I do not think Trump is well and he is losing his mind. He'd probably be in a padded cell. Yeah, I don't think he's doing well either. I just don't see that man running a robust presidential campaign right now, to be honest. Taylor is not a key, right? The Taylor Swift key does not exist in the 13 keys. Did you or Alan have the idea to start the live sessions? Who do you think? You think my dad even knew that you could go? My dad doesn't even know what YouTube Live is. I think he barely knows it. Now, the other day he said to me, I can go on YouTube and go to our channel and check how many subscribers we have. He just learned how to do that. To open the YouTube app, click my profile and read how many subscribers there are. He just learned that. Yeah, it was my idea. Robert Rojas asks, more importantly, how are you? I'm good. How are you, Robert Rojas? Jamie Smith says, Taylor is not a key, but she can still help in the congressional and Senate races, maybe. If she can boost your youth turnout, won't make that big of a difference, though. I don't think Taylor Swift will make any difference in the election, personally. How do you become a member on the main channel? There should be a join button. If you go to the channel, there should be a button that says join. Click that button. Does polling concern you outside of the keys? It is kind of hard to ignore despite the keys being so successful. No, polls are never really, to some extent, if there's a poll that's 70-30, or like Congress has an 11% approval rating, you can pretty much pull from that Congress is not very popular. But when we're talking about close elections or we're talking about winners, losers in elections, I don't find it very useful. Oh, it's Roberto, not Robert. Sorry, Roberto. Jamie Smith says, Georgia went blue for the first time in forever. Texas can too. I guess. The issue is that the bigger cities in Texas are not as pure blue as Atlanta. Like, the thing about the demographics of Georgia is the entire population exists in Atlanta, right? And that's deep, deep blue territory. We're talking about Dallas, Houston, Austin. Austin is more blue, but more kind of libertarian, lefty, radical nothingness. I don't know if there's enough solid blue cities in Texas to turn it blue, my opinion. Ian says, I think Taylor could definitely get young people voting. How many are we talking about here, right? We're talking about 10,000 people who wouldn't have voted. I don't know. I don't see her endorsement making that size. I think probably a lot of her big fans probably already vote. The ones that don't vote probably still won't vote. It's just like the amount of people she can move, I feel like, is already small. It's just a small amount of people. That's just my opinion. This guy's standing right in this guy's shot. Ohio is red trending. Tester has a better chance of winning in Montana than Brown in Ohio. Maybe so. Don't forget that news outlets took 2 days to call Texas in 2020. Yeah, but it ended up, I don't think that was an issue of it being close. I think that was just an issue of counting. I think it ended up being pretty red in the end, right? Where does Sam Lichtman see himself in 10 years? I don't like that question. Scary question. I'm going to skip that question right now. Sam, can you guys have an online store? So many people come to me with so many different ideas, and it's like, you guys have to understand that I run everything for this channel. I do the social media, I do the graphics, I do the technical, I do the producing, I do the question, I do everything, and I have a full-time job. So it's like setting up an online store takes a lot of time and effort. I just don't know if I have the capacity to do that, and I also don't know if we have the following right now that's big enough to make it worthwhile to take all my time in setting up an online store. Also, then I have to design t-shirts and mug. It's like, that's a lot of work, man. That's a lot of work. Jamie Smith says, Trump won Montana by a wider margin than he won Ohio by. Patrick Murray says, Texas goes blue in 2030s. Mark my word. Yeah, I could see it turning blue in a couple decades maybe, or a decade or so. But not this election. Owen Valdala says, I went to Houston this past winter. Those maniacs aren't going blue for 5 decades plus. That's what I'm saying. I mean, the only thing with Houston is it does have a very big immigrant population, and sometimes immigrants vote more blue. But yeah, I don't think Houston's gonna has enough blue votes to switch the whole state yet. Taylor would be a great endorsement, but I really think people like Bernie Sanders, AOC, Obama need to drive youth turnout here for Biden. I'm not a believer in individuals driving turnout and changing elections. I'm not a believer in endorsements, especially on a scale like the elections. I mean, on like the presidential election. I don't think individuals endorsements make that big of a difference. What's your favorite key of the 13? Your dad always says scandal. Is it the same case for you? No, I like the foreign policy keys. I like foreign policy. Sam, which Dems do you think will run in 2028? Probably Kamala. Probably Cory Booker again, I'm assuming. Probably Pete Buttigieg. Maybe AOC. But has anybody gone from the House to the presidency with AOC? She might go for governor or senator first. Miles says, I agree. Let's grow the channel, then merchandise, then franchise. I agree. It's like, we only have 5,000 subscribers. Putting all that effort into designing t-shirts and putting up an online store for 5,000 subscribers, I don't know what good it will do. I think the channel needs to grow first. Jamie Smith says, polls show Texans support abortion. Why is the balloon thing always happening? Was I holding up too? This did the balloon thing? Polls show Texans support abortion rights. So maybe, just maybe, they'll vote a pro-choice Senate candidate this year. Yeah, maybe. Everybody got my hopes up last time with Ted Cruz losing, and he didn't. So I don't want to get my hopes up again. In Arizona, we have this lady named Wendy Rogers. She is a supporter of Nick Fuentes. It's insane that some in our country have come to this. I agree. Miles Worth says endorsements aren't worth the paper they're written on. I agree with that. If we're talking like, a Senate race in Connecticut or a Senate race in Massachusetts, getting the Boston Globe's endorsement probably helps you out pretty well, right? Getting, the, last senator who was a Democrat probably helps you. It's more just like it gets you out in the mainstream world, I guess. There is most likely going to be more Hispanic people than white people by 2032 in America. Yeah, but that's assuming all Hispanic people vote for Democrats, which maybe leans Democratic, but I think a lot of Latinos in America are fairly conservative. A lot of Latinos are very religious. I mean, if you look at Cubans in Florida, they vote almost all Republican. I know that's a special case because a lot of them have fled or were thrown out of Cuba. But I wouldn't just assume that all Hispanics and Latinos are going to vote Democrat. Again, it might lean blue, but I think there will be a lot of Hispanics in the future who vote Republican. Riz key for the win. What's the Riz key? The charismatic key? That is an interesting key because I feel like he gives it out so rarely. It's kind of interesting. Linda Fusca says they have APT to take one young face and change. What? I don't know what you're saying, Linda. KA says, what happens if the incumbent party doesn't gain or lose any seats in the midterm? I don't know. You have to ask my dad that question. Oh, yeah, Gavin Newsom in 2028. I forgot about Gavin Newsom. Which Democrat do I hope runs in 2028? That's a good question. I like Cory Booker, I think. Roberto Rojas says that the keys to the White House Wikipedia page has Joe Biden as predicted winner. Does it really? Keys to the White House. Oh, that's weird. Huh. It's weird too because they acknowledge that there are a bunch of keys that are not turned yet. Huh. That's Wikipedia for you, I guess. James Garfield went straight from the House to the president. Okay, so not for a long time at least. Use that if your dad ever gives you that as a pop quiz. Yes, I need that if he ever gives me a pop quiz on the live. If we get a female president, do you think it would be more likely to be Harris or Whitmer? Probably Harris just because she's vice president and vice presidents just have a bigger national spotlight than a governor does. But a lot of people seem to really dislike Kamala, but I don't really know. Yeah, I don't know. I would guess Kamala. That would be my guess. I think Donald Jr. will one run day after his father loses this election. I don't think he will. I don't think he wants to be president. I think he's seen the shit his dad went through. He'd rather just be a rich man yelling about politics from the sideline. That's my 2 cents. I think, what's her name? Ivanka is more likely to run. And more likely to win, I believe. Wouldn't Kamala need to run to avoid losing the party mandate key? I'm not sure. Owen says, my preference is Josh Shapiro. Nice. Sam, are you going to do an electoral map prediction after your dad makes his prediction? Maybe. That could be fun. My mom says, Alan does not control the wiki page and has not made a prediction. Thank you, mother. Which Olympic sport are you most excited to watch? I like watching in the Olympics. I like watching 3 main sports. Gymnastics, swimming, and track and field. Those are my 3 Olympic sports. Who is my favorite president that I've been alive for or that I've heard of? Like in the history. In the history, Lincoln, that I've been alive for, Obama. Riley says, I disagree. Ivanka is too quiet. Laura Trump, I can see. Maybe Laura Trump. I think Ivanka being quiet will be a good thing for her political career if she wants one, in my opinion. I hope there is never another Trump in the White House again. Me too. I wonder if Ben Shapiro will run in 2028. Fortunately, I think he'd be a serious contender. I don't think Ben Shapiro. I don't think so. He's too much of a. I think he just makes too much money at the Daily Wire. Why leave that to probably lose a presidential election? I don't know. I feel like he should run. I feel like also he should maybe run for like Senate or governor first. Andrew says, I have just sent a message. Why didn't you read it? Oh, I missed it. Iranian officials and outlets are claiming that all explosions heard tonight are due to interceptions and that no explosions have occurred on the ground. Good sign. I agree. If you click the link, there's an article attached to it written by your dad to the keys to the White House. It says right here, Lichtman has not made a definitive prediction. I don't know what you mean. God help us if Ben Shapiro does that. Run. Yeah, he's a hack, man. He's a total hack. Everybody's like, oh, he's so smart. He's a hack. He says whatever aligns with his political agenda. He has no objectivity. He has no openness. He's a hack. Owen says, I firmly believe the only practical choices for Dems in 2028 are Shapiro and Whitmer. Dems should start being practical by nominating people from swing states so they can lock them down easily. That's a fair point. Those tiny links on the undeclared keys. 38. Yeah, but he doesn't make a prediction. Does he, in any, I'm not going to read this whole thing. I don't think in this whole thing he makes a prediction, so it doesn't matter what it's linked to. Ben Shapiro is most likely a plant by a billionaire. A lot of conservative pundits are actors/fake commentators, and that's how they earn their money. I mean, I don't think this is like a conspiratorial thing or like he's a plant. The Daily Wire is funded by right-wing billionaires. It's just a fact. It's not like it's a secret or like a conspiracy theory or like a plant. They get a lot of their money from very rich right-wing donors. Just a fact. See what they're saying.
Very different group to the one that it was then. But like I said, this is a region waking up to this news. We don't know the full scale of the attack by the Israelis, what exactly was hit in Iraq and Syria. It might be that the Americans feel, for instance, that, that this has been useful by the Israelis to hit targets in Iraq and Syria, specifically on groups that have been hitting U.S. troop facilities in both of those countries. But the Iranians haven't done so much that they will escalate a wider war in this region. That's the hope, I think, anyway.
And before I let you go, James, I'm just curious, when you've talked to people there in Lebanon, is there a concern that the country is vulnerable, that they're going to be dragged into the crosshairs of this war? Potential war. Yeah,
ever since October 7th, I think the Lebanese have been absolutely concerned that this country could get dragged into a wider war. Look, Lebanon has been, I suppose, at the mercy of Hezbollah for years, as their political institutions have been crumbling, as there's been massive corruption at the heart of government in Lebanon. Hezbollah has been able to show itself to be the defender of Lebanese integrity, if you like. It's in 2006, it kind of earned its stripes fighting against the Israelis. It saw that as a win. The Lebanese saw that as a win. And so ever since then, Hezbollah has become a much more powerful force here in the country. And there is every possibility that Lebanon could be dragged into a war with the Israelis. I do think, though, that there is a lot of support among Arab people for Iran in that kind of symbolic sense that Iran, for them, is the only country in this region that's willing to take the fight to Israel. I don't think people here are hungry for war. No one is calling for an all-out war that is going to pull every single country in this region in. But at the same time, there is a sense that their own governments have been very weak when responding to Israel. I think a lot of people felt that it was,
All right. Andrews Sam. RFK Jr. has fallen to 7.9% on RCP. This is likely remaining true. He needs to pull above 10% to turn it false. Yeah. I saw you asking that question, Andrew, but I think you asked it last week, basically, so I felt like I didn't need to ask it this week to my dad. I wouldn't be surprised, Ian says, I wouldn't be surprised if Dwayne Johnson runs for president. No shot. No shot. Linda says, how about Michelle Obama? I think she's already pretty firmly said she has no interest in running for president. She's not a politician. She's never been a politician. She was already in the White House for 8 years. I doubt she wants to go back. I think she didn't like it from what I've heard. I think in her memoir, she even said she didn't like it. So Oprah, I don't think any of these weird celeb picks are going to actually run. AOC maybe, but I think she needs more time before she runs. I don't think she could win a general I don't think she'd win a nationwide Democratic primary. If you read Obama's recent books, Michelle hates politics. She almost divorced Obama because of it. That's what I'm saying. Everything I've heard, seems like she wants nothing to do with being president. Jon Stewart would be an excellent candidate. Come on, bro. He's a comedian. Trump broke this dam in people's minds. Now people just think anybody will be a good president. It's like, come on. I love you, Dr. Ash, but come on. Do you think you will ever get a president elected younger than 42 in your lifetime? That's a very specific question. I'm going to say no. Zelensky was a comedian too. Yeah, but that's Ukraine. That's not the United States of America. And wasn't he he got into politics before he became president? I might be wrong about that. Let me see. Oh, he went straight to president? Okay, it seems like he did go straight to president, but I still think I'm not saying it's impossible. I just think it's unlikely and not a great idea on a general, every once in a while a comedian could become president of some country and do good. I'm not saying that's impossible, but Jon Stewart or Bill Maher would be great presidents, I truly believe. Stewart could flip Florida blue. Maybe. I don't know. I don't even understand what president is in this day and age in America. It's gotten too big. It's gotten too powerful. It's mostly a figurehead position. Your aides do everything for you. It's annoying. If Milei can be elected in Argentina, anything can happen. Yeah, anything can happen. I mean, Trump got elected. I think that's pretty surprising. The ironic part is that I think Zelensky played a role in a TV show where he was the president. Yeah, I think that did happen too. Jamie Smith says, I'm Ukrainian and Jewish, but I am not loyal to Ukraine and Israel. I'm very deeply disappointed by their actions. By Ukraine? What did Ukraine do? Today is the birthday of Ali Khamenei. Who's that? Oh, the supreme leader of Iran. I didn't know that. Zelensky banned people from leaving the country. Yeah, but that was I'm not going to debate that. I mean, it seemed to me like that was part of a wartime decision, not just like you can't. I don't know. I think Ian says, I think Arnie as an Arnold Schwarzenegger would be a good president, but he's constitutionally ineligible. I don't get why everybody's obsessed with celebrities becoming president. I don't get that. Just because they're a celebrity doesn't mean they'd be a good president. Let's see what this general's saying.
Into trying to send clear messages to.
Just blah, blah. Is 35 too young to be elected president? No. Andrew says, Israel delivered the guy a special gift. What guy? What are you talking about? All right. Seems like things are slowing down. I'm getting hungry. It's weird. Talking really builds up an appetite. I didn't really know that until I started doing these like long live streams where I do like my dad's first. And, like, it gets you hungry. It's weird. I guess you burn a lot of calories by speaking. Best pizza topping, mushrooms, by far. Or mushrooms or pepperoni or both. I don't eat meat usually, so I don't usually eat pepperonis. But if I did still eat meat, pepperoni. Mushrooms are gross. Get the heck out of here. Eat before your streams. I'm on the West Coast. That's like eating at 5:30. That's too early. Pineapple goes on pizza, especially with ham. I agree. I like a Hawaiian pizza. Dr. Ash, this is a doctor, so this is confirmed. He says, you do burn calories a lot, Sam. Some days I teach 4 to 5 classes and I'm burned out for 2 days. What classes do you teach, Dr. Ash? Roberto says pepperoni is greater than. I agree. Jamie Smith says, I prefer cheese. There's nothing wrong with a cheese pizza, and I think that's a good base pizza to like judge a place off of. Like, how well can they just do a cheese pizza? If I'm ordering multiple pizzas, I'll throw in a cheese. I'll almost never just sit down and be like, I'll just have a cheese pizza. That's it. Olives on a pizza are really good. I agree. I'm pro olives on a pizza. But I'm trying to think what I don't like on a pizza. I don't like chicken on a pizza. Chicken on a pizza just doesn't work. There are some rare occasions where some places do like really good like buffalo chicken pizzas. I can excuse that, but other than that. Dr. Ash says, I teach consumer psychology and business. I'm a consumer research and addiction. Train medical doctors to help patients get off addiction. Wow, that's awesome. Hey, Sam, since you've been on the East Coast, have you ever heard of Frank Pepe's? Yes, I think I've had it. It's quite good. Have you ever had broccoli on pizza? I actually had that once. I've had broccoli on pizza. It's fine. Jamie says, chicken on pizza? I kind of like that. Nah, chicken on pizza sucks. If Jokic wins another NBA championship, will he be considered the greatest European NBA player of all time? Probably. What other great European players you got? Dirk, Tony Parker. Probably, because the European players didn't really hit the scene hard until like the early 2000s. Chicken is healthier than pepperoni. The question was, what's the healthiest? The question wasn't what's the healthiest pizza topping, Jamie. I've had Big Mac on pizza before. It was definitely an experience and a half. I'm skipping that. Dirk and Giannis, the best European players. Yeah, I forgot about Giannis. Do you think hockey is kind of an underrated sport? No, I don't like hockey. Going to a hockey game is fun. Watching it on TV is a snore fest. Opinion on gay marriage? I think gay marriage should be legal. Period. Fun fact, chicken isn't actually healthier than pepperoni because it raises insulin. So what's the healthiest meat? I mean, I don't really eat much meat. I eat fish and egg. What's the healthiest meat in your opinion, Dr. Ash? Or is there no healthy meat? Opinion on Luka Doncic? He's an incredible player. He needs to win something though before anything else. Beef or lamb is the healthiest. Okay, there you go from a doctor who teaches psychology. Fish is healthy. I agree. That's why I eat it mostly. All right. Is the 2024 Olympic team better than the 2008 or 2012 teams in terms of names? It's hard to say with USA teams. They're all stacked, you know. I'd have to look at their rosters and compare. Let's do that real quick. No, let's not. All USA basketball teams are stacked. Do you support Israel? I'm not going to answer that question. I don't feel comfortable answering that question. I do feel comfortable answering that question, but not in a public setting like this. Why did your dad skip on the Israel apartheid question last stream? Because he is not an expert in that field, I'm assuming. Thank you, Owen. Anybody watching Tokyo Vice? That's my favorite show of like the last couple of years, man. I love that show. First season, I loved. I started watching the second season. I freaking love that show. I don't watch a ton of TV anymore. I find we've been oversaturated with TV and it's just too much. And like the shows have gone down in quality substantially since like the golden age or the platinum age, which was like 2008 to 2012. Roberto asks, is Tokyo Vice the one with Ansel Elgort? Yes, that's Tokyo Vice. Owen says, I get concerned a lot regarding making any public statements about politics, foreign politics, especially with a full-time job now. Same, bro. Same. You know, I'll do it on my Instagram because just my friends follow me. But, you know, anybody, my employer, a future employer can pull this up and, you know, make a decision based on that. So I'm just like, you know, maybe if I was a YouTuber full time and, you know, I didn't have to worry about that kind of stuff, I would say something, but I'm not. And I have to still rely on an employer to employ me. So, yeah, that's why I skipped it. Owen says, I reposted a friend's Instagram story about Gaza, Israel, sat on it, then deleted it hours later. Here's the thing about just the topic of Israel, Israel, Gaza, and Palestine. It's such a complex, complicated debate. You cannot substantially or you cannot debate it or discuss it in an Instagram post. I think even in a forum like this, me just talking, it's hard to discuss it. I mean, you need hours and hours and hours to debate with proper research, with, you know, it's not a thing that's easily discussed on social media. Worst airport I've been to? I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. Linda says, I love the Doctor Show Netflix. It's a true story. What's the Doctor Show? Owen says, my roommate at Columbia served in the IDF and he filled me into the history. It's unbelievably complex. Exactly. Unbelievably complex is a good word, is a good phrase to use. Top 5 favorite sports. Football, basketball, fighting, like that includes boxing and MMA. Tennis. What's my 5th favorite sport? Probably soccer. KA says, I sent your dad an email last month and he ignored me. That's his prerogative to ignore people's emails, I guess. Thoughts on a Patriots rebuild? Fuck the Patriots. That's my thoughts on a Patriots rebuild. Are you studying history like your father? I ain't studying nothing. I'm a 32-year-old man. Did I study history? I was neither a major nor a minor in history. I took some history classes in college, but no, I don't have a history degree. Will the Jets finally reach a Super Bowl? Heck no. Heck no. With an aging quarterback coming off of a horrible injury? No. That's an L take. What's an L take? About the Patriots? Dude, I'm a Ravens fan. I hate the Patriots. Thoughts on Brock Purdy? He can get you there. That's my thoughts on Brock Purdy. Owen says, not gonna lie, I think Aaron Rodgers is a jerk. I hate his takes on everything. Very arrogant. Yeah, his takes are pretty bad. Most of the takes I've seen of him online are pretty bad. Like that he gives are pretty bad. When will you lose patience on Lamar Jackson? Never. You have to understand that the year he was drafted, I was in a group text with my friends, and they were like, and when we traded up for the 31st pick, my friends were like, yo, who do you want the Ravens to draft here? And I was literally like, Lamar Jackson. I've loved Lamar Jackson since he was a college player. I think even before the draft, I was like, yo, I want the Ravens to draft him. I'm a huge Lamar Jackson fan. No matter how frustrating he might be to watch sometimes, he's so fun to watch too. He makes up for it. Aaron Rodgers should have been Kenny's V pick just for the spice. I think it would have been a better pick than whoever he picked. I don't even remember her name. That should tell you something. You know what I mean? Like if I can't remember your VP pick's name, that's not good. Thoughts on Sean Payton rebuilding the Broncos? I couldn't care less about the Broncos. I couldn't care less about the Broncos. Who's their quarterback now? Because they got rid of Russell Wilson, right? Did they pick somebody up? Patrick Murray says, I don't remember her name, but she's a billionaire. That's why he picked her. Yeah, how many billionaires have run for president and lost? Probably a lot. Maybe not a lot, but a lot of rich people run for office. Somewhat, I don't know. Skip that. Thoughts on Saquon to Philly? Traitor. My dad's a huge New York Giants fan, so they're like my second team. Traitor. Did you play sports at any point? Yes. I mean, growing up, I played pretty much everything. And then when I got to high school, I focused on football. I played football. Owen says, I am increasingly concerned about RFK Jr. because of his ballot access strides. His polls are down under 10%, which should influence the keys towards Biden, but it's very, very scary. I ain't scared of RFK Jr. Let me make this clear. I ain't scared of RFK Jr. Jarrett Stidham is the QB for the Broncos. Man, they really in a rebuilding, huh? Nicole Shanahan is RFK's VP pick. I'm probably going to forget that in the next week. Where do you think Bill Belichick ends up? Here's my thoughts on Bill Belichick. Fuck Bill Belichick. That's my thoughts on Bill Belichick. I don't care where he ends up. Fuck him. Stidham was on the Patriots for a while. I don't know. Owen says take the L again. I will never, ever respect the Patriots. Well, respect might not be the right word. I respect. No, I don't respect them. I acknowledge they're winning. That's about it. They won a lot. I acknowledge that. Tom Brady is probably the best quarterback ever. I acknowledge that. Owen says, I'm a diehard New England fan, mostly because I grew up in Massachusetts. I don't like any New England teams. You don't respect Tom Brady? Insane take. I kind of respect Tom Brady, I guess. Blah. Do you think your dad is... Oh. Linda says, my caregiver Kelly is a Trump supporter and she didn't know that Biden was a vice president. Well, it seems like you need to educate her a little bit. To be fair, the Giants kicked TB12's ass in the Super Bowl. Yeah, they did. Will Mahomes surpass Brady? Probably. I like Mahomes a lot more than I like Brady, I'll tell you that much. I just don't like Tom Brady. I will acknowledge he is the greatest quarterback that has played. That's about it. Owen says that Mahomes will not surpass Brady. He's already pretty close, and he's like 27 years old. Is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer? Yes. He won 2 Super Bowls. He's a Hall of Famer. No shot Mahomes surpasses Brady, although Mahomes is an insane QB. He already has 3 Super Bowls, doesn't he? He's young and he's already got 3 Super Bowls. I hope he doesn't, because that means the Ravens won't win any Super. I want the Ravens to win those Super Bowls, not Mahomes. Roberto says 3 Super Bowls at 28. Brady had the same amount at that age. There you go. Owen says, but to win 4 more, that's a heavy lift. No doubt. But I think he'll pass him. Do you ever think your dad's concerned he may eventually be wrong on his prediction for the elections? Sure, of course he's concerned, but I think he's old enough and cemented his legacy enough now. He doesn't really care that much. All right, I'm hungry. I'm signing off. Thank you all for watching. Nadal, Federer of Djokovic. Federer, no, not even close. Fuck Djokovic. Nadal's okay. With that, good night.